Hey guys, Harry here from the Art Gear Guide. As you can tell, I've got a review today of the Mitsubishi Hi-Uni graphite pencils. I've reviewed quite a lot of graphite pencils over the years, and one thing that I've learned in testing and demonstrating and creating artwork with graphite pencils is that they're not all the same. And I know that statement might seem a little bit silly, but a lot of people think that, a 2B pencil is a 2B pencil. No matter what company you get it from, no matter what different characteristics there are with the pencil in comparison to other pencils, a 2B pencil is a 2B pencil and that's it. And the same with all the rest of the grades. But I've noticed over the years that that's not the case. There are in some cases, very, very subtle differences between brands, and then in other cases, there's quite glaring differences between brands. And so I think, depending on the type of artwork that you intend doing with your graphite pencils, I think it does good to look at the different reviews that are out there of graphite pencils and see which brand or which pencil you think is going to be best suited for you. Now, I just said there about checking out reviews. I think personally, I know a lot of you guys come here and you're quite happy with the reviews that I do, but I think no matter how happy you are with the reviews I'm doing, I still think it's really important that you go and check out other reviewers and see what they're saying about the same product. Now, if you do that and you check out, say, maybe your top 3 reviewers, and you're confident in what they're saying is honest and is truthful and it's accurate, and you go there and all 3 of them say exactly the same thing or thereabouts about a particular product, then you know that you're on to a winner. Now, sometimes that's not going to be the case. There's going to be slight differences, but what you've got to take into consideration there is we all do things differently. I hold a pencil different to another artist, or I might put a lot more pressure on a pencil compared to other artists. So there's lots of different variables that come into play, and I know that might complicate things even further for somebody wanting to look at buying a set of pencils. But hopefully, through the artwork I do with these pencils and through the swatching and all these different tests that I do with them, it'll help you a little bit. So anyway, I've wanted to get hold of these pencils for a long time. They are a little bit on the expensive side, but again, as always, all the prices that I have for the Mitsubishi Hi-Uni will be over on my written review. And like I've said before, the reason why I do that is because as and when prices change, I can amend the written review. If I say to you now that this set cost me 50 quid, 10 years down the line or 5 years down the line, and the set doesn't cost that, when people are watching the review, they're going to feel that I am giving them false information. So on my written review, I've got control of that. I can change it as and when the products change, and it's the same with links. When I provide links, I can change the links over on the written review as well. Every Sunday I will sit down and I'll go through, I'll maybe pick out about 15 or 20 different written reviews, and I'll just go along and I'll check the links to make sure that they are still live and that they are still representing the price that I have indicated on the written review. Now, I'm sure I've missed out 1 or 2, but I do my best in that respect. So all the prices are over in the Art Gear Guide, the written review, but they are on the pricier side, but there is a good reason for that, and we'll get into that in a second. So as you can see, just a plain black tin with a little bit of artwork on the front here. I'm not too sure who the artist was for this particular piece, but it's a beautiful piece of artwork. I think it shows the tonal range of the graphite pencils pretty well, but we'll get into that later on as well. As you can see here, it says 22 degrees of grades. So the set ranges from 10B, which is super soft, all the way up to 10H. So if you're not familiar with the graphite scale, there'll be an image popping up on the screen now, and it just gives you an idea of how the pencil grades work. So you have, obviously you've got two different grades. You've got a grade B and you've got a grade H, and that's why your HB pencil, which roughly sits right in the middle, has the two grades, the H and the B, because it's got a combination of, it gives you a combination of both. So it's kind of like right smack bang in the middle. Then as you work your way out, so as you work your way out towards the right, as you're looking at the grading system, we go down the grades of Bs. So 2B, 3B, all the way down to 10B. And the further down that grade, the further down that grading you get, the softer the core of the pencil is going to be, and often at times the darker the graphite's going to be. When you go on the opposite side of the scale, you go to your H. There is an F in there as well. I'll get back to that in a second. But then you go down your H grades all the way down to 10H. When you're getting down to 10H, you're practically drawing with just clay. As graphite is mixed in with clay to help bind it all together. When you're getting down to 10H, there's very little graphite in there, just to give you that really super light application. So when you go to open the tin, there are two little indicators here on the top, just say push. So you just push down on them and the tin pops open. When you open the tin, on the inside of the lid here, again, you just have HiUni art set, and then you have what was on the outside, just basically the different grades of pencils that are there as well. So anyway, as you can see here, the pencils come unsharpened, so you get the full barrel of the pencil there, and you can sharpen it with whatever. I know that sounds daft, but some people like to have a slightly smaller point. Some people like to have a really super long sharp point. Some people like to sharpen their pencils using a knife, and so when the pencils come unsharpened, you've got that option. You can do exactly what you want. Now I know when they're sharpened you can still do it, but when they're unsharpened, I just think it gives you a bit more control, gives you a little bit more option as to what you want to do. So let's take a look at the actual pencils themselves. So the barrel of the pencils are lacquered in this gorgeous burgundy maroon colour. On the top end of the pencil we have this black lacquer, and that has on it whatever the grade of pencil is. But the good thing about these, the nice thing about these pencils is the grade, they're a hexagonal barrel, and on every single side the grade of the pencil is printed in gold print, and against that black background they show up really, really well. It's very, very clear. There's no mistaking or there's no difficulty in indicating the grade of the pencil. Again, running along one side of the barrel here, we have established in 1887, which is obviously the Mitsubishi company. We have the Mitsubishi logo and then the Mitsubishi name. Further on along from that, we just have HiUni. And then obviously we're up to the black end of the barrel. On the opposite side of that, again, we have the grade of the pencil, just like you would do on an ordinary pencil on the barrel. Then beside that we have Japan, which is obviously where this company is from. Right down at the bottom here we also have like a barcode where you can purchase these pencils individually. Now, when you go to purchase these pencils open stock individually, it's very important that you shop around because they really do fluctuate in price. So I've given you some links to Amazon, and the only reason I provide links to Amazon is because Amazon is kind of like a more generic place. Like I can't go around adding links from different stores all around the world, like, you know, links from Jerry's or Dick Blick's or from Jackson's or Cult Pens. I can't do that because it would take me forever in the day just to gather up all the links and then start applying them. So it's just easier for me if I just apply the links from Amazon, and then it's also easier for me to then maintain those links. But having said that, I will always make sure that I provide the cheapest links possible on Amazon for you, but it's still important that you do have a look around because, like I say, they fluctuate in price greatly with regards to the open stock pencils. And also as well, just a little side note, there is a Mitsubishi have another pencil which is called Mitsubishi Hi-Uni Star, and they look very, very similar. I personally don't know what the differences are at this present time and moment because I haven't tested or reviewed the other pencil, but I will definitely get round to doing that so that I can give you a comparison, let you know what the differences are and that type of thing. But it is worth just mentioning so that when you're looking for them, you don't select the wrong pencils and say, Harry, that review you gave me was rubbish, because they are very similar. So that's the pencils. Another thing that I want to show you here as well is the size difference of the cores. So the size of the barrels is around about 7.1 millimeters, not diameter but width, because they are hexagonal pencils. But when you look at the core sizes within inside the pencils, because that's easy to do because they don't come pre-sharpened. The HB pencil, which like I say is right around the middle, is 2.5 millimeters in diameter for the core size. Then if we go down to the 10H, which is, don't forget, the lightest and it's the hardest core, we're looking at about 2.1 millimeters. So we're looking at a difference of 0.4 mil in diameter width. And then when we go all the way up to the 10B, we're looking at a 4.2 millimeter core. So it's substantially thicker. And the reason for that is obviously because the 10B is mostly graphite. There's just a little bit of ingredient in there, binding ingredient in there to keep it all together. But still, even though that binding agent is in the graphite, it's still mostly graphite. And graphite is like a powder, as you know. It's like you couldn't just get it and just start using it other than in a powder format or like a block. So the binding agent keeps it together, whether it's in a pencil or sticks or anything like that. And obviously the 10B is very, very soft. And if you had a 10B core that was the same size as the 10H core, which is like 2.1 mils, you would have serious problems when it came to sharpening. It just wouldn't be, the girth of it just wouldn't be enough to stand up to sharpening, which is the reason why they always give you slightly bigger cores to help maintain the fact that it is a softer ingredient. It's a softer core overall. So these pencils look great, they feel great in the hand, but let's take a look at the swatch and we'll have a look at the different grades throughout. Okay, so what I've done with this swatch, right up at the top here you can see the 10B, and then right down at the bottom here, on the bottom right, you can see the 10H. Now, I've done kind of like 3 tests with each pencil. So on the top, I've done just like a heavy application. In the middle, I've done a light application of the grade. And then down here I've done a light application and then used the blending stump to blend it, just to give me an understanding of how the graphite moves, whether it moves well or it doesn't move at all. And that's the case with some graphites, so it really all depends. But also, the paper that I've used for this test is the Strathmore 300 series Bristol Vellum, so it's got a little bit of tooth but not too much, and I like using Bristol Vellum or Bristol Smooth when it comes to graphite work, because that type of paper allows you, gives you a little bit more movement in the graphite when it comes down to it. So as you can see, now one of the things that I was looking for here, which gives you an indication of the quality of the graphite, is when you come down to the blending, like moving the graphite around with the blending stump. When it comes down to these H grades, so when we're coming up to 5H, 6H, grades like that, in a lot of different brands, when you apply the light layer and you rub your strokes across like this, then you come to try and blend it out. It'll blend, but still sometimes you can still see the pencil strokes, like you can on when you look at the, say, like the 6 and 7/8 here. You can see that the heavy application there, I just did linear strokes left to right. I didn't start doing circles or anything like that. I just wanted to do linear strokes on all of the testing here. And then same with down here in the middle, the light layer, again just linear strokes, and you can clearly see the linear strokes there. Now when it came to the blending of it, to see how well it moved, again it was a light layer of linear strokes, and as you can see all the way through here, even right up to the 10H, there's not a single trace of any of those linear strokes underneath that, and that really surprised me, because like I say, that doesn't always happen with all pencil graphite pencil brands. You tend to find it'll happen in some of the more expensive pencil brands, but not always, and that just gives you an indication of the quality. It's just one of the things that I look for when I'm looking for quality in a pencil. That also applies to watercolor pencils. Whenever you like scribble some watercolor pencils down and then you activate it with water, and still underneath that you can see the pencil strokes, it's not necessarily an indication of a bad watercolor pencil, but it does give you a little bit of an insight into the quality of the pencil. The higher the quality, the less likely you are, once you activate that, to see those linear strokes. The whole thing will just dissolve into watercolor, and that'll be that. So as far as this test goes, really, really nice. The graphite on all of them, and again, down on the 10H here, it just moved beautifully, and I wasn't really expecting that at all. Now, what I will say is, for me personally, I think pencils going as far up as 10H isn't necessary at all. I think if you have a 4H pencil, as you can see here, if you have a 4H pencil, you're going to get the similar type of tones that you get with your 10H in any case. Just apply a slightly lighter application. But they are there for artists who want to use them. But for me personally, I'm happy to go as far as 4H. Now, with the B grades, now bearing in mind these are graphite pencil, they're not like the Staedtler Mars Lumograph Black or the Faber-Castell Pitt matte pencils, because they have carbon in them as well. So you tend to find here with any graphite pencil, doesn't matter what the brand is, when you apply a heavy application of the B grades, you get this sheen. It looks like almost looks like silver when light hits it in a certain way. Let me see if so you can see here, I'm moving it about a little bit. You can see there, as the light hits it from a different direction, it gives that silver look. Now you can see that's happening on the 10, like up around the 10B, the 7B, 6B, but not so much on the HB, the 2B and the B, and then obviously on further down to the other grades you don't get that sheen. Now that's just par for the course when it comes down to graphite pencils. Like I say, there are other alternatives out there that you can use to combat that if you don't want that in your artwork. But so the sheen of the graphite doesn't necessarily indicate a good or a bad pencil, but I have tested other graphite pencils and the sheen is much more prevalent than what it is in this. So although the sheen is there, it's not as bad as what I have seen in other pencil brands. I mean, like, I really have to tilt it to the light to get it, whereas in other brands, having it just sat there, it would be really difficult for me to show you how dark the graphite is, because I would need to maneuver it about. And on that note as well, the darkness that the 10B and 9B give, which are both, if you look at it here, the 10B all the way down to 7 or 6B, maybe even 5B, they look very, very similar in terms of their tonal values. But I do like the tonal values that they offer. They are very, very good for the artwork projects that you might want to do with your graphite pencil. And on that note, I did create some artwork with them, so I'm going to show you that now. And this is the artwork that I created with the pencils. So as you can see here, there's a good range, a good tonal value range within this piece in its entirety. With the black around the outsides here, I used the 10B and the 9B for it, so I was able to use those values in an artistic way, and which gives you a much deeper and better understanding of the pencil. Same with the shavings along here as well. I used 4Bs, HB, 2H, and I think I used a 3H as well. And then for the slightly darker ones, I used 5 and 6B also, just to give it that 3D look, where it looks like it's coiling out type of thing. So I was actually really happy with the way this piece turned out. It wasn't something that I was really thinking about. I just done it, and I think it just turned out really nice. And I like the way that I've put in it looks like, the little bits of graphite down at the bottom here. Looks like you want to flick it off the paper, but they're actually, just drawn on. So I was really happy. But you can see there, when the light hits it, you can see that the really dark areas of the artwork do shine a little bit when the light hits it. I'm trying to get it to hit. There, you can see there. And so what you've got to take into consideration then is, if you were going to put that into a frame and hang it on the wall, as the light changes or whatever, or you've got to make sure that light doesn't reflect on it too much, because it'll give it like a metallic look. So that's my review of the Mitsubishi Hi-Uni graphite pencils. I really love these pencils. Like I say, I've been wanting to get a set of these for a long time now. They are a little bit pricey. They are. But it depends on what... It really depends on if you're going to do a piece that you might want to sell, stuff like that. These are the type of pencils that you would definitely want to use. Now, in terms of light fastness, I know that there is a big controversy around light fastness in graphite, whether it exists or it doesn't exist, or how light fast graphite can be, and all these other things. I've got to be honest with you, I haven't delved too deep into it, not as deep as what I did do with the coloured pencils. I wasn't really able to pinpoint a light, fast grading system for the Mitsubishi Hi-Uni, not from a reliable source. In other words, from the actual company itself. But if I do get one, I will put it up over on the written review so that you can take a look at it. But all of that aside, the pencils themselves I loved using. I was really pleased with the artwork. I was really pleased with the way the swatch testing came out as well. Like I said, I do know that they're a little bit on the pricey side, but it's really up to you as the individual as to if graphite art is important to you and you want to really pursue it, you might want to look at a set of pencils like this. Now, over on the written review, I've got the different set sizes that they come in. I mean, this size here, the 22, is their full range of graphite. Obviously, you're only going to get smaller sizes than set sizes than this. Sorry, let me put my tongue back in. They are a gorgeous pencil. There's no two ways about it. I really enjoyed using them. If any of you guys have used them and you have a slightly different take on it, or you agree with what I've said, please leave your thoughts and your opinions in the comments section. Like I always say, the comments section on my channel is the gold. That's where everything happens, and I think that's where the most valuable information is found. The reason being is because everybody gives their ideas, their opinions, their thoughts, how they, how the product worked for them, that type of thing. And then when people come to look at the review, they can also look at the comments and they can work out for themselves based on that whether they want to buy the set or they don't want to buy the set. So if you've experienced these pencils before, please let me know in the comments section down below what your experience was like. Also, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel and you have found this video helpful, or you find any of the other videos helpful in the collection that I have, which I think now is about 400 odd videos, if you subscribe to the channel and you hit the bell icon, every time I put a video up, you'll get a notification, and that includes giveaways. So when I do a giveaway, another giveaway, you'll get a notification. You won't miss out on it, and you'll be in for a chance to win. Incidentally, at the time of doing this video, I have a giveaway on the go at the minute. It's for the Derwent Inktense 100 set. The winner will be announced on St. Patrick's Day, which is 17th of March. So if you're watching this video before that date, go across. I'll have a link for it down below. You'll see it also pop up, the video pop up on the end of this video. Just click on it and you can go across and find out all the details over there. Also, if you want to know a little bit more about me, you want to follow like my family life, my dog, things like that, if you follow me on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, I put up little photographs and things like that occasionally, but I also put up work in progress shots of my artwork or things like that to just give you a little bit of a taster as to what I'm reviewing or what I'm working on next. So if you want to follow along on any of those platforms, again, the links will be down below. Thank you guys for all the support you give me, for all the wonderful comments that you've given me, and all the support for the podcast that I did with Lindsay. I was so nervous about doing that because of who Lindsay is. I've known Lindsay for a long time, but being invited onto her podcast as a guest was like absolutely huge for me. And then given the fact that she had spoke to some really, really high profile artists like Marty Owens and Steve from the Mind of Watercolor and so many others, I just felt a little bit on the back foot, so to speak. But obviously, when I was sitting talking to Lindsay, it was absolutely fantastic. I had a wonderful time, and thank you so much, Lindsay, for having me on. And thank you for all you guys for all the lovely comments that you gave about the podcast. All the best, guys. I look forward to seeing you again in the next review. Bye.